Wait, you like Alden? Allison yelled, after a rather usual conversation with Kaylee. They had been talking about how femboys are quite exquisite, and what type of people she liked, when suddenly Alden was mentioned into the conversation. Do you like Alden? Allison asked. Yes, she replied hastily. Unbeknownst to Allison, Kaylee was telling a complete and total lie. She did not like Alden despite being good friends with him. In fact, she truly hated Alden because he was too much of a sussy baka. However, April Fool's Day was coming about and thought it would be a funny prank to go along with this notion, and got Alden to pretend like he liked her back. Allison flipped out like crazy as soon as Kaylee said yes. She quite literally lost her marbles and went bonkers over this news. Quickly, after she asked Alden if he liked Kaylee, to which he falsely replied yes.
Tears flowed down Allison's face as she had thought she discovered major and important news. She eventually became a mediator for the two, speaking in between the two, and tried to get them to talk to one another. Alden, can you change your profile picture to Harry Styles? Kaylee asked Alden on Discord, ironically. Sure, he replied. Kaylee was absolutely stunned that Alden had agreed to the plan. She had expected for him to completely shut down on the idea, as Alden hated Harry Styles. Maybe Alden isn't so bad, she thought inside her head. The following days to come would be a wild roller coaster. She continued to pretend that Alden and herself liked each other, planning movie and gaming events, as well as talking more. Throughout those days, Kaylee was shocked at how willing Alden was at following up with these plans and ideas, and no sooner than later started falling for Alden because of how much time she was spending with him.
She had discovered that Alden was much more comedic than she thought, and more handsome with that. With Alden's long, luscious hair that would occasionally part over his eye and his strong, defined jaw, she started to idealize Alden as a soulmate. One day, she asked, "Would you like to see the newly released Demon Slayer movie with me?" In which Alden replied yes. The sun was setting on that Saturday evening. The air was slightly frigid with a pungent smell of popcorn butter. And even with the large crowds around them, it was easy to spot Alden in his silky hair that occasionally parted over his eye, as well as his strong, muscular calves. "Hey," she told Alden, looking at his ink-black eye, the other which covered by his listless, luxurious hair. "Hi, Kaylee," he replied back. The rest of the time they were silent. They walked through the double glass doors of the movie theater when suddenly, with his muscularly strong arms, Alden grabbed Kaylee's hand. Kaylee's face immediately turned red and thought to herself, "I look like Zip, sussy imposter from Among Us." Hand in hand, they climbed into their seats, interlocked, and suddenly made eye contact with each other. Their stares into each other were intense, more than the rays of the sun. They stayed in eye contact, ignoring people around them and the loud noises coming from the screen. Until finally, "Kaylee!" said an unfamiliar distant voice. Kaylee's eyes grew as she recognized the staticky voice only kept by a bad microphone, which is surprising considering they were in real life. "Hey! Yo, did you know that turkeys can blush?" he asked with a smile. Alden and Kaylee both stood there with a complete neutral face, blinked 3 times, and looked at the man. "Who's this?" asked Alden, slightly annoyed. "Oh, his name's Galario. I met him in the Valorant game," responded Kaylee. "Oh, cool, I guess," Alden responded, now wondering if he could be a potential competitor. "So, what are you guys doing at the movies together? You guys dating?" asked Galario playfully. No, of course not." Kaylee blushed. She looked up at his strong, muscular build and his mysterious eyes. She couldn't hide her feelings for Alden. Her eyes met his, and she felt a quick jolt in her body. It was then when she finally realized her true feelings for him. She felt a warm, fuzzy feeling in her chest and smiled. "Right, Alden?" She hit his shoulder and smiled at Galario. "Mm-hmm," Alden agreed, staring at Kaylee. His heart fluttered when he saw her beautiful smile. "Did you guys see the new Demon Slayer movie?" asked Galario, again, ruining the moment.
"Yeah, It was pretty good, replied Alden with an annoyed look. Ooh, I was in there too. My favorite part was when the red dude died. Haha, sussy smirk. Like you, Kaylee. Wink, Delario said with excitement. Oh, Kaylee, since you guys aren't dating or anything, would you mind me joining you, right? Alden was enraged on the inside. Who was this guy that just randomly ruined his chance to spend time with his crush? Alden took a deep breath and looked at Kaylee. Kaylee seemed a little annoyed as well. We'll be heading home soon, since my mom wanted me to get back before 7, so maybe another time, Kaylee said desperately, trying to save what was left of their hangout for alone time. Oh, okay then, said Galaria. He seemed really sad, but let them go on their merry way. That was kind of weird, Alden said. Yeah, that was, Kaylee replied. That one single moment alone made them not talk with one another for the next few weeks until Value Mart. That Thursday would be an unforgettable moment. It was midday, and the sun was starting to set. Kaylee went to the canned bean aisle to look for canned beans. Whilst reaching for the highest one, she nearly stumbled and dropped the can, but suddenly was caught by an unknown stranger. The stranger's hands felt strong and buff, and had much physique. She quickly stood up to look at her savior, and to her surprise, it was Alden.
What are you doing here? They both exclaimed simultaneously. Kaylee stared at his face for a while, looking at his long, luxurious hair that was parted over his eye. Kaylee, Alden looked to the ground and blushed. What? What? If you have something to say, then say it! She looked up at him, impatiently waiting for him to continue his sentence. Alden looked at her cute pout. She looked like she was about to punch him in the face. It was extremely adorable. Kaylee, I really like you, Alden yelled. Everyone in numero uno stopped and stared. The thing is, I've really liked you for a while, and I like you too! Kaylee exclaimed, looking really flustered. Ever since we started lying to Allison, I just couldn't stop thinking about you, and no matter... She felt a sudden hand on her face. Alden kissed her. Kaylee's heart started fluttering. All over her body, she felt a feeling of joy that she's never felt before. Then they let go and smiled at each other. Sorry, I've been waiting to do that. Alden smiled, giggled softly, and kissed her on the forehead. Well, my mom's waiting at the cash register, so I have to go, but I'll talk to you later, okay? Before she could respond, Alden ran off to see his mommy. Kaylee couldn't stop smiling after that. She couldn't get him out of her mind. He's just a sussy baka. My sussy baka.
By the end of the day, they walked out of the grocery store, hand in hand, where they officially started dating. And then they got married, and then had kids. 5, in fact. 1 for every day of the week. One day, Kaylee got fired from her job for insubordination and almost filed for divorce. Alden almost died in a car crash, but didn't, and became broke due to all the medical bills and blah blah blah. Eventually, Alden died. Kaylee too.
That day, suddenly, Value Mart exploded. The end. Let's go. Poggers.